Our worst performance of the season. Easily, easily, easily. As you can see above my head, West Ham 3, Arsenal 1, a 4-goal thriller. Definitely weren't thrilling where we were concerned, people. Halloween was yesterday. If Arsenal wanted to give us a fright, why wait till now? West Ham 3, Arsenal 1. We kick off November in terrible fashion. All we can do is move on, really and truly. Everything went wrong. There's no positives. The only positive would be Odegaard, who's been missing for a couple of weeks, got to go, and at least David Moyes' team, they didn't get a clean sheet. Now, first things first, you've got to be gracious to the opponent. They did everything we didn't. Clearly, they listened to their manager. They wanted it a lot more. They managed the second half when the game got a bit open and ferocious. They did that. They were more clinical. They stopped us playing our game in every aspect. West Ham deservedly so. Big up David Moyes. I hope you lot go and win the trophy. So at least we can say on a shameless one that we lost to the winners of the competition. I know a lot of Arsenal fans, the group chats are crazy. My Chelsea supporter friends are calling me because they beat Blackburn. I know, United and Arsenal fans, it's two homeless men fighting essentially because both teams went out in disgraceful fashion for the clubs. It is what it is. Yeah, we can sit here and some fans can say, oh, we're targeting other trophies and all of that. Great, but it's never nice to go out of a cup. How many footballers actually go on and win trophies? The number of active footballers to those that actually attain silverware, how many is there? Losing is never acceptable. No one ever wants to lose, but it's a necessity. Apologies, in life to lose games, but if we lost 3-0 or 3-1 and West Ham were amazing, and you know what, it is what it is. There's nothing more we could do. Fair enough. Take nothing away from West Ham. We also defeated ourselves today. The first half, don't know what we're on really. Fair enough. The set piece, it can happen with Benjamin White. Ramsdale might be being pulled. Personally, I think both two players could do better. I'm actually more annoyed in Zinchenko. Gabriel's had to concede the corner because Zinchenko's gone to sleep. At that point, West Ham don't have a shot on target. It's the same old, same old. We've made a lot of changes. I did think in some parts of the first half we was playing okay, but made a lot of changes. No players are really looking lively per se. I thought Jorginho looked good into the second half. I think Kyrgios looked all right. I think Trossard looked all right. I think Nelson looked all right. The bar is on the floor for Kai Havertz, and the bar is on the floor if you're finding positives when you lose 3-1. But Kai Havertz looked a lot better than a lot of his teammates. The first time I've looked at Kai Havertz and thought, yo, you're actually looking all right. First half, at 1-0, you thought, yeah, we might be able to get something. We're not banging on the door. We've had some half chances, but we're failing to hit the target. But it does feel, pardon me, like the game somewhat in the balance, essentially. Second half, horrible. And I think Mikel Arteta has to take responsibility for halftime. I don't think he made the players go out there in the second half and play the way they did. It was absolutely terrible. Before West Ham got the second and third goals, literally 30, 45 seconds into that second half, West Ham had the bit between their teeth. They warned us. They had a close effort, really. So I think at halftime, Tomiyasu needed to come on. That's the one. Declan Rice maybe for Jorginho. I'm not gonna lie. I said on my watch along, Jorginho, it was more of a first 5-10 minutes in the second half. Let's see where he's going and when he gets tired, and then bring on Declan Rice. I think Tomiyasu needed to be the one to start and needed to be the one to play. I'm past the point of being angry at Zinchenko. I like him. I don't advocate scapegoating of any player. We win, lose, and draw together. But anytime he has to defend, we're in problems. The second goal, the momentum has shifted in it. Again, Zinchenko. I'm actually not that angry at Zinchenko for the second goal because it's a lovely pass. And that's the one time Zinchenko's spot on. It's a lovely pass from the centre back for West Ham. Kudus has cut him open. Yes, across all aspects, we could have done better. Zinchenko, blocking the shot. We're allowing them to build out from the back. If we scored that goal, we'd be waffling all night about that. It was a sexy pass from the centre back of West Ham. So on one hand, with my neutral hat, I had to admire it. Second, on the second Arsenal hat, it's appalling. The third goal, again, the transitions were looking very poorly. It's not just him, but Benjamin White's header is falling to the path of Bowen. Only Declan Rice is trying to somewhat close it down. It has taken a slight deflection off Kyrgios, but fundamentally we've gone out. We should have had the bit between our teeth a bit more. And considering generally we've been better at away from home versus the Emirates this season, it's terrible, really. Again, that is our worst performance of the season. I know I said that in the aftermath when we lost to Lens away from home. I definitely think the first half against Chelsea, first 45 minutes, maybe 60 odd minutes, 70 odd minutes until we got the first goals up there. It's horrible, really. I think Zinchenko, yeah, the defensive things are one thing, but the passing was horrible. For someone that, cool, you're not switched on defensively, but, you're a crisp sort of footballer. You've got a footballing IQ. You're a good passer. It was horrible, really. And I think, it's the same old case of, even though Eddie Nketiah was poor, everyone was poor. I'm not, it doesn't matter if 2 players were good and 10 players were bad, but Eddie Nketiah is having to drop too deep. Trossard's basically picking up the ball as a left back, and they're doubling up against him. They're aggressive with their press. They're making it very difficult for us, and we're playing into their hands. I did think, at halftime, we needed to get service to those players. We needed to work Fabianski. We need to up the tempo and just have a lot more quality, really. And we're not taking the half chances. At halftime, they're winning 1-0. They had 31% of the ball, no shots, none on target, but they took and 2 corners, but they took their chances. Compare that to at the time, our 8 shots, 1 on target, 69 percent of the ball, 302 passes to their 143. So yeah, I think our play was lacking invention, it was lacking intention, it was very predictable. We only really play one way. And West Ham knew this. They did their homework. They were aggressive when they needed to be. They doubled up when they needed to be. They took advantage of the errors we made when they needed to be. They didn't allow us to have any openings. Obviously, when Odegaard came on, he kind of bagged. And I think the subs, probably the men of the match, because they did the basic competencies that were required. As I said, second half, West Ham warned us about what they were on, and we didn't take heed of it. Their first shot on target has led to their second goal. As you know, 2-0 is a dangerous scoreline. You get 2-1, it's a bit of optimism. By then, they've got the third, it's past the pad settings, and I'm happy we did it, because you lot would have heard me on my watch along saying, listen, just mash up the clean sheet. Just mash up the clean sheet. So at least the analytical team and David Moyes have something to think about. I think Mikel Arteta, all right, was always going to rotate the team, but I think he has to take responsibility for the subs, and I think he has to take responsibility for simply put, for the subs. The second half is on Arteta as much as the players. Players, I don't know what he is on. You really and truly, I really don't. There was no fight, there was no desire, there was no nothing. Big up Odegaard for scoring, and technically Fabio Vieira for getting an assist. So Arteta can sit there and point towards, that's why he stayed on the pitch. I don't know how Fabio Vieira was on the pitch that long, really. It was shades of Eric Ten Hag keeping Rashford on in the Manchester derby as long as he did, really and truly. Again, it is horrible. It's just far too easy for West Ham. Credit to them, because they did everything that we didn't, really. Ultimately, football's decided in both boxes. We didn't take our chances or really create anything of note in the final third. We didn't defend like our lives depended on it. Second half, we didn't win. I know I said it's decided by both boxes, but typically it's played in the middle of the park. We didn't win our collective or individual battles in the midfield or anywhere over that football pitch, really, people. And I think certain players showed why they don't play today. I think if anyone's heads in the skies because we're unbeaten in the Premier League and we had a fantastic game against Sheffield United, if anyone thinks we've achieved anything or their levels, they need to wake the F up immediately. We just all we can do is lick our wounds and heed our warnings, because a result like this has been coming for a couple of times this season, even in games we've won, if I'm completely honest with you. So yeah, I think Odegaard needed to come on a lot sooner. I think Declan Rice needed to come on a lot sooner. I think Tomiyasu was the one at halftime I was almost begging Mikel Arteta to make, really, because maybe things could have been prevented, but it is what it is, people. And then the second half, it just shows that they're a street smart team based on that 90 minutes, and we done well. We had 14 shots, 3 on target. Horrible stats. They had 5 shots, 3 on target, and scored 3 goals. 72% of the possession to 28%. Possession is 9/10 of the law, but it's what you do with it. And there was no intention, invention, or any sort of mandate when we're on the ball. We didn't look like we knew what we was trying to do, really. We had 6 corners, they had 4, and then ultimately we didn't make it count. And when the game got a bit more open and there was a fight, there has been a lot more courage in this Arsenal team this season. That second half, when it was open and it became probably an entertaining game for the neutrals, it deserted us, really. We deserve to lose. All we can do is lick our wounds and go again. I don't think the players need a recovery session tomorrow because didn't exert too much energy today. So you need to get into more early. If Arteta's there at 6, 7 a.m., like it said in the All or Nothing documentary, you might need to be there at 5 a.m. really. You lot need to do serious push-ups and circuits and things like that. You lot can't be tired. All we can do is move on to to Newcastle. Sorry, definitely happy to not play West Ham. All we can do is move on. And the most disappointing thing now is obviously when you see the news around Gabriel Jesus' injury, Thomas Partey's injury, and Smith Rowe's picked up a knee knock, and Mikel Arteta has said it's a big injury, allegedly. We can't afford any more injuries. But yeah, it just shows the evident limitation on certain individuals. It just shows that we've got an improved squad. We don't necessarily have a squad that's levels to compete. And it just shows, as good as West Ham were or weren't, that whatever you lot believe, you take it up with yourselves. We defeat ourselves a lot. We have this element of self-capitulation and shooting ourselves in the foot. Take heed in that. Fair enough, this has nothing to do with the Premier League. If you behave like this against Newcastle United, you can forget about 3-1. You will hold a cricket score. So yeah, people, smash the like button. Let me know your thoughts. Again, football's a crazy game. You could be riding the highs of defeating Sheffield United and hitting them for how many goals, and then West Ham United deal with you. So yeah, we need to get on with it against Newcastle. It's a crap way to start the month, but you know, all we have to do is all we can do in this life is look forward, and hopefully we can do what needs to be done in the next few games to come. Let me know your thoughts, comment, like, subscribe, and all of that good stuff. One love.
There's always that active red flag defending.
I think it's like